conversation with Puri, MD of UTI Asset Management.
Thanks, guys. Well, we continue with our series, Hello 2017. And today in that series, we present to you someone who is an expert on practically all aspects of the financial sector. I have with me Mr. Puri, the Managing Director and CEO of UTI Mutual Fund. Well, those of us who have been around long enough know that Mr. Puri is a very close and intense observer of the banking sector, a specialist in that area, and that is at the heart of a lot of changes. So we have a lot of questions and trends to learn from Mr. Puri. Thank you very much for giving us time today. Well, first up, before I ask you the trends for 2017, Mr. Puri, the big event that we are sitting in is the demonetization. What is your understanding of this process? Is the pain going to last for this quarter? Would it last for 2 quarters, that is the first part of 2017, or could it be a little longer?
I think the pain is probably likely to last until the end of the financial year. I personally don't expect it to persist much beyond that. I was happy to see that we've started to print notes offshore as well, so more cash will come into the system. So I don't anticipate beyond March that there will be much pain.
Okay, but could there be knock-on effects? Do you see, FY17, FY18 as a period where there could be, some shadows, probably because of the real estate sector, or because of, some permanent dislocation in the informal sector?
See, I think it depends on the larger view you take of demonetization and how you view the overall picture.
How have you viewed it?
I think there's one piece which is certain to me, that the benefits of this in terms of expansion of the tax base is very real, very likely, and I think is empirically sound. The second element of this is a leap of faith. You have to believe that the taxes that are going to be raised are going to be better used, which means we are going to have a government that is actually committed to good governance. There's, in economic theory, one of the concerns that many people, including people offshore, have had is that today we have a functioning economy where our entrepreneurs are able to make things work. Some part of that is in the shadow economy, yes, but it doesn't matter because the system, the supply chains and so on are functioning. We have absolutely put a stop to that now. The leap of faith is when we restart that engine and you actually have a broader tax base, will you have a responsible government spending process where infrastructure, education, healthcare, the social security net, the broadening of the formal sector, will that come into being, or will we have another wasted opportunity? I happen to be ready to take that leap of faith and say that we are at a point where this government, midterm, is indeed committed to taking forward economic transformation, good governance. Therefore, the benefits are going to flow to us. And that, I think, is a central divide here between the skeptics who fundamentally don't see that anything is going to change and that this is just a one-off intervention and an ill-thought-through, poorly executed intervention. And others who say, no, this is part of a broader plan. You have had Jan Dhan, you have had GST, you have had Aadhaar-based UID. You are now going to get digitization of land records. You have a broad movement towards expanding India's tax base and formal sector, and a government that is committed to better governance and reforms. So isn't that the best way to take us to being a middle-income country? And if you take that leap of faith, then this is surely a good thing that is happening. Very good for the markets over the medium term.
Okay. Well, you are beginning to convince me. But the market out there is still, deeply divided between bulls and bears, between skeptics and optimists. Let's just pause and speak about the markets. We've seen, in the past 8 weeks, the markets shed off a goodish bit, partly because of Trump. I mean, Trump and demonetization hit us on the same day. Do you think we have much more to lose before the markets are able to pull themselves up?
Actually, yes, the markets, of course, we talk of volatility and uncertainty, and I think that 2016 actually has been a year where, for better or worse, some of these uncertainties appear now to have been resolved. If you look at Brexit and Trump, they are answering questions, yes, as much as asking them. They're answering the questions about, is the world seeking a shift, a new paradigm? Is it seeking to reestablish rules of global trade, globalization? And you may not like the answers we're getting, but we are getting answers. And this is the problem. Be careful what you wish for. The markets were wishing for certainty. We got certainty. It wasn't necessarily the certainty everyone expected. But you can't argue any longer that we don't have a better sense of where we're going. We are going in 2017 to a world where there is going to be realignment. Some of that realignment is geopolitical, which is represented by the Trump presidency. We are seeing signs of that in East Asia, in the Middle East, and with Russia. Some of that is economic, which is the view on Fed interest rates and the impact that has already had on the dollar. And by the way, has spurred a tremendous rally in the US markets. So you've essentially seeing a very bullish phase in the US markets as